Now, before you fit the Y piece onto the frame for the front engine mounts, you'll want to have the head bolts in, because the head bolts put the engine generally where it's supposed to be, if not exactly where it's supposed to be. Now we'll move on to fitting the front engine mounts. First, what you want to do is you'll want to put the Y piece on the frame just like this. Then you'll want to take a bolt. It's probably going to have to be longer than your standard front engine bolt, but put it through so it lines up with the front engine mount on the engine itself. And as you can see, scoot it back a little bit here, you can see it's too high. So what you want to do is you'll want to take note of where this bolt is hitting, measure down to where it'll be about center of the hole, and then cut that much distance off the pipes down here so you can move the Y piece down so this bolt will feed into the engine mount hole itself. Alright, so using the method that I showed you before with the bolt and having the engine in the frame, I measured down where abouts these need to be. So now I'm going to grind these down to about where they need to be. And then we'll put the engine in and refit. That's kind of how all this goes. It's like engine in, measure, pull the engine out, cut, pull the engine in, measure, pull the engine out, cut. It's kind of repetitive, but if you want a CR500 AF, that's what you got to do. Here we go. Alright, so we've ground these down, and now we're going to test the fit of the Y piece. Now, on this one, you can see I've gone down just ever so slightly too much. And that's okay, because in the end product, you're going to want a little bit of slop in the Y piece. So it makes it easier to get that bolt in. And once you get that bolt in, then it'll hold it in the perfect position for welding. Try the other side. And see, there you go. We are fitted for the front bolt, and now we can start working on the top part of the Y piece. Okay, so we've got the Y piece fitted for the front engine mount. Now we're going to get the Y piece fitted to actually be put in the frame. So what you want to do is, I like to keep the bolt in there because it keeps it at about the right angle this way for the down tube. But you'll just want to kind of look at it and make sure that it's at the right angle this way. So you'll just take a ruler and mark from this side about where the very top of the Y piece goes. And then you'll do the same thing on the other side. That way you get a good common denominator. And ideally you want them to line up at about the same place, which looks like they are, so I think we're good. Now, when you do this, do not cut this line. I've made that mistake before. It's not cool. From this line, you want to measure down 5/8 of an inch and then cut that line, because you got to compensate for the pocket inside of there. All right, we'll get that done, and then we'll show you how to put it in the frame. So we measured from the top of the Y piece with the engine in, like so, and we got this line which is the top of our Y piece. Do not cut this line. I've said that once, and I'll say it one more time. Do not cut this line. Measure 5/8 of an inch down, and that's the line you want to cut. And we will cut it. Alright, so after you've measured the Y piece and not cut the top line, then you've measured down 5/8 of an inch and then cut that line. What you'll do is you'll set up the frame like this, either with a 4x4 underneath and a 2x4 on top, or 2 on each, or however you want to do it. Just get a hydraulic lift in there so you can put this in. So let's jack this guy up. Get it all lined up. Make sure you do not get your fingers in this, because it will shear your fingers off. Alright? Now that's pretty tight. Ideally, you'd want a little bit of wiggle in there, but we'll fit the inch in, see if it fits, or if we need to trim some more off the top here. I think a common misconception with these things is that people think that once they do all the steps exactly correct, that it'll go in perfect and everything will be fine. That's not the case. With anything custom, especially this, you're going to have to put it in, take it out, put it in, take it out, put it in, take it out a lot in order to get it fit correctly. Once you finally got it in the frame, you should want a good amount of slack. And the reason for that is because you want the Y piece to be able to adjust to where the engine is going to sit naturally. Even if you line it up perfectly, you're still going to want it to be able to move around until you go to weld, at which point you don't want it to move at all. So you'll put the front engine hold down bolt, and that will hold it in place for welding. Anyway, we'll put the engine in, and I'll show you how this bad boy fits. There it is. And then, once you're here, you'd want to tighten this down and then take it for welding once you've done your exhaust part.